and see how they do. 3-6 Rutgers last year. This is probably the toughest team as far as looking at some talent that I had to go over. So when all else fails, I'm going to look at who's going to hold the ball the most, who's going to be involved in every play, and that's grad transfer Noah Verdell. 6'1", 200. He transferred from Nebraska and UCF, and it looks as if he's going to probably be the guy to be the starting quarterback for the Scarlet Knights. And there's not a whole lot there in the cupboard. They were 3-6 last year, and I'm not sure. It would be great to see him turn around and see him be relevant, but I just don't know what to expect from Rutgers. I don't expect big things. I expect them to maybe compete because they always seem to play hard, and they always play, tough, but they always seem to find ways to lose games. So, it's tough, and there are Rutgers fans out there, people who went to Rutgers, who live around Rutgers, who root for Rutgers, and it's hard if you're a Rutgers fan to go through this year after year. Moving on to the Maryland Terrapins. 2-3 last year, 5 games. Eek. We're moving on. 2021, what do we got? We've got some bright, fresh faces to talk about here from Maryland, and 2 guys that really need to have good seasons for Maryland in order for Maryland to be relevant. Taulia Tagovailoa, obviously you recognize the name, transfer quarterback from Alabama. From what I've seen, he's not his brother. He's not even, they look alike a little bit, but this is going to be his year. And he's got a fantastic young up-and-coming wide receiver in Raheem Jarrett, sophomore wide receiver, 6 foot, 200 to throw the ball to. I grabbed Raheem Jarrett in our Devy draft a couple of weeks ago on our Devy side of the draft, and was really excited. I got him like in the late. I got him late. I can't remember what pick he was, but I got him late, and I was happy to get him because to me it's a stash. As if this guy, plays up to his potential and does really good, then I got a steal, going into the NFL. So we'll see, but there's a great 1-2 punch right there from Maryland on offense. If Taulia can this will be his, I don't know, I guess it'll be his first full season if you think about it, because he played a 5-game season last year, so this will be his first full season at Rutgers or at Maryland as the starter, and that's definitely important, and he needs that. He's got a couple other wide receivers there in Maryland too. I don't want to overlook, but the Jarrett's the kid that he has a lot of pop and he's got a lot of buzz right now, and Tagovailoa has got some weapons to throw to, so Maryland could be way better than what they have been in recent years. Penn State 4-5 last year, and they started off really hot if I remember right. Just off the top of my head, I think they started off really well. This team played they were 4-5. That can't be right. It says the record's 4-5. I may have wrote that down wrong. My handwriting may be wrong. But they do return Sean Clifford, redshirt junior quarterback, and that's the experience you're looking at. Like I said before, if you're looking to grab a hold of something from a team, you're looking at the quarterback position. What does the quarterback position have to offer? And with Clifford, you're looking at experience, and you're looking at a guy who's been there. He's got some leadership, and the team seems to really rally around him. Grad transfer running back John Levitt from Baylor, and sophomore running back Noah Kane. A good 1-2 punch there at the running back position for Penn State. Kane, 5'10", 226 sophomore. Really would like to see him take a step up, as a sophomore now, and really be a guy that they can lean on this year and next year, and to really rise up and become a big name there in the Big Ten. Penn State's a team that's always there too. You know, it's never fun to go in there, and they've got the whiteout going on and the towels, and everybody's white, and stadium's packed and rocking, and you go into Penn State. It's intimidating. It's hard to play in, and they can pound you, and they can win, and they can beat you on any given Saturday, and it's never fun. I don't care if you're the 10-0 Buckeyes, and you're going in and you're playing the 6-4 Penn State Nittany Lions. Penn State is going to play you tough. They're going to punch you in the mouth, for one, because they want to beat you, and because it is a tough place to play. So Penn State is always one of those teams where you're like, oh gosh, they're going to play in Death Valley. So Happy Valley, excuse me. I was thinking Clemson for a minute. Happy Valley's Penn State, my mistake. That was just off the top of my head. But they're never fun to play at home, and they always play you tough. It's Penn State football. It has been. It's been that way for years and years and years. And they're always going to play you tough, and they're always going to put themselves in a chance to where they can win the game. Probably the surprise of the conference last year, 6-1 Indiana. And they're going to be good again. Okay, now it all kind of hinges on what I just talked about before. Their quarterback's coming back from an injury he suffered late in the year. That's Michael Penix Jr., the quarterback, and he had a fantastic season last year and was really Indiana was a threat. You didn't want to play Indiana. They were a threat every time, you played them, and their 6-1 record, is indicative of that. Their only loss, I believe, was to Ohio State. But he's coming back off of injury. Now, is he going to be the same guy the first month of the season? I can't say that he will. I can't say that he won't. But usually those injuries, and I believe it was an ACL, is something that you can't come back from, and be 100% right off the bat. It's hard for running backs, maybe a little bit easier on quarterbacks, but this kid's a little bit more of a mobile guy. So we're going to see how he doctors his game. There are 3 guys on this Indiana offense that I want to talk about. 2 of them are transfers, and another one is a guy who's graduated and stayed and decided to come back. I'm going to talk about him first. That's 6'2", 210, wide receiver Ty Freifogel. His name is rapidly becoming a thing, and not only Devy but college fantasy as a guy who is going to make the jump into the NFL. And he came back for a reason, and the one thing that I think is really going to be important for Penix as he recovers from his injury is Stephen Carr, another USC transfer. I spoke of another one earlier in the show, and this is the second USC transfer who left and came to the Big Ten. And Stephen Carr come in and provide instant playing time, instant security, playing in another Power 5, another big-time school at USC. And Stephen Carr, this guy was the real deal. He was being sought after. He was being talked about in Devy circles and fantasy circles as another big-time USC running back. And for whatever reason, it didn't work out. He transfers, and here he is now with Indiana and a chance to really come in and play and make a difference for that team. Another transfer that I think Penix can rely on, and it's a good 1-2 punch with Ty Freifogel out there, is DJ Matthews, 5'10", 153-pounder. He's not big. He's not a big guy. He's basically the opposite of Freifogel. But what he did, he came from Florida State, and what he did at Florida State was he was always the guy. He was always the guy you could rely on. When the play broke down and you needed to do something, DJ Matthews was always the constant in that offense. And believe me, that offense was rough and hard to watch, but he was like the shining light in the wide receiver position. I mean, forget Tamorrion Terry. He was the guy that was on the field all the time, and he was the guy that you could rely on. And I think he can be that for Penix. You got Freifogel, you got Matthews, you got a decent running game, and a experienced running back with Stephen Carr coming from USC. And Penix is the straw that stirs the drink here. If he can do that, Indiana's going to be right there in the thick of it again and fighting Ohio State, for the right to play in the Big Ten championship. And that leaves us to the best for last. I'll save the best team in the conference for last, and that is the Ohio State Buckeyes, 5-0, but they lost some weapons. Okay, they lost a couple of pieces that you're really going to see a difference in Ohio State this year. Exit Justin Fields, enter C.J. Stroud. Very, very highly talented, highly sought-after quarterback coming out of high school. And, they're talking this kid up, and they want him to be, the next big thing to come out of Ohio State at the quarterback position. And they lost Trey Sermon. He went to the pros. So Master Teague. Master Teague had some flashes last year. If you watched him, late in the season once he was finally healthy again, Master Teague was a very good running back for this team. And now he's going to get his chance to be maybe the primary back there for Ohio State. But the big things are at the wide receiver position. This team is loaded at wide receiver, and if you're looking to go any kind of wide receiver in your fantasy or in your Devy leagues, you're talking Bama, Clemson, and Ohio State. Those three teams just continually pump out wide receivers. And there's names here. I think I got 6 or 7 names wrote down, off of their team. And you start with Garrett Wilson. This guy is a big-time playmaker. He's going to do big things. And, you talk about a great 1-2 punch. Chris Olave, who we all thought was going to go pro and enter the NFL draft, but opted to come back to Ohio State. And you're looking at Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, Master Teague in the backfield. That's a lot for C.J. Stroud to rely on. And he's going to have all kinds of help around him. The offensive line is always good at Ohio State. He's going to have help. He's not going to have to do it himself his first year as a starter at Ohio State. So this guy is primed for success already. He got to sit and watch Justin Fields and learn, and now it's going to be his show. And we'll see how he turns out. But the sky's the limit for this kid, and they have very, very high hopes. Smith and Jigba is another guy who's flying off Devy draft boards, and in college fantasy, he's going to be a big time asset for some people. Julian Fleming, another one. Marvin Harrison Jr., the great Marvin Harrison's son, is the wide receiver now at Ohio State. And here's a freshman name I want to run at you. Emeka Egbuke, another kid. He's a true freshman coming in. Does he stick around? Does he see it through and wait for his turn, or does he transfer out? But this team is loaded across the board at wide receivers. I mean, they are 6, 7 deep, and C.J. Stroud's going to have plenty of weapons to throw to. And, look for Ohio State to, be right up there again, and they're probably going to contend for going to the Big Ten championship and maybe even win the Big Ten. But there's a lot to like in the Big Ten. There's a lot to think, man, these teams got some work and a lot to but like I said at the very beginning of the show, we've got a lot to look forward to. We've got a lot to be thankful for, not only on this Memorial Day weekend, but also, we're looking at fuller stadiums this year, some semblance of normalcy coming back to the college football game and the NFL game. And, I, for one, am very happy to see that. I'm not sure where I'm going to go next in my jaunt across college football. I'll just have to see. I just decided to start with the Big Ten this year because I always seem to fall short, and I don't get to talk too much about the Big Ten or even the SEC or the ACC, so maybe I'll just bounce on down south to the SEC and knock them out next. I don't know. We'll just see where my boots take me when I start walking. Hope you enjoyed this. This has been fun. I love talking college football. Find me on Hateful Hitman on Twitter, and we can talk college football all day long. That will wrap it up for me on this Memorial Day. Enjoy it. Get out. Grill some burgers. Enjoy your day off. I hope you enjoyed our start through a walk through college football and the Big Ten. My name is Chris Strasbaugh. Find me on Twitter at Hateful Hitman. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time on The Hitman Show.